Welcome back, everyone. We are working on the Brain Warriors Way. We're on sustenance. We just got started earlier in the week, and we're going to talk today about the myths behind the alkaline diet. So there's a lot of talk about alkaline acid balances in the body, what they mean, all these myths and diet fads, and some of them are actually not very healthy for you. So I wanted to address what we mean when we talk about an alkaline diet, what it means to alkalinize. Is it actually important? Like, what is it that's going on with you? Okay, so let's take a look at it. One of the first myths is that food actually can alter your blood pH. That can't happen. Okay, as an ICU nurse, I worked in an ICU unit, and one of the things we monitor really closely when people have had certain accidents or poisoning or head injuries or all sorts of different issues is blood pH. Blood pH has to remain really, really tight. It can't shift very much or you die. So your blood pH has to remain somewhere like 7.35 to 7.45. So it's just slightly alkaline, okay? But if it goes outside of that range, that's a pretty tight range. If it goes outside of that, you get really sick. Very far outside of that, you die. So we're actually always monitoring to make sure that that stays within that range. Your body should actually has a lot of mechanisms that keep it in that range unless you get really sick from a number of reasons. Things like diabetic ketoacidosis or head injuries or poisoning or kidney failure, or like different reasons that your body will no longer be able to keep that blood pH where it is supposed to be. Okay, because your blood has to stay there. One of the ways your blood does that is you breathe. So if we had people on ventilators that were breathing for them and they started to get to a certain level, we would hyperventilate them, which brings them back to this alkaline state, right? So that, or excuse me, they're building up CO2. We want to get rid of that CO2. So we would hyperventilate them, okay? So that helps us get them back to a normal place. Now that's the blood pH, okay? We call that homeostasis. We need to keep it there. Food doesn't really affect that. The reason food doesn't, unless you're like in renal failure or something's going on with you, the reason why it doesn't affect that is because you have these buffers, things like bicarbonate in your urine, that help to buffer your pH, that bring it back to normal, or your breathing. So usually you'll notice like at certain times of the day, like all of a sudden you take a deep breath. Maybe if you've been breathing shallowly and then all of a sudden you feel really tired, you start breathing deeply, you feel better, right? Because it restores your pH. That's one of the reasons. So you've got these buffers that make sure that that doesn't happen. So that's one of the myths with this alkaline acid diet. Here's another one. Your body should be alkaline. Really? Because you've got stomach acid that would like eat the rust off of something, and you need it. So you need that stomach acid. There are parts of your body that are meant to be very acidic, and you don't want them to be alkaline. In fact, if you decrease your stomach acid too far, I know we take these antacids, we do all these things, and that's like putting a Band-Aid over a bullet hole. You should be addressing what's causing that problem instead of long-term things that decrease stomach acid, because what happens is you don't break down your food properly. And when you don't break down your food properly in your stomach, when you're not digesting it, I mean, there's a reason you have that stomach acid. What ends up happening is you're not absorbing minerals properly, and minerals are part of this buffering system, right? So you don't absorb those minerals properly. And then the other thing that happens is you get things like problems forming vitamin K, which is formed in your gut. So all sorts of issues can happen when you're not digesting your food properly. You need that stomach acid. If you're not if you have acid reflux and other issues like that, figure out what's causing it. There's probably something you're eating that's not agreeing with you. That's where some of these acidic foods might be triggering a problem with you, and we'll talk about that. So, and it's not always just acidic foods. Sometimes it has nothing to do with being acid or alkaline. There's just sometimes certain foods, if you're either allergic to them, they don't, agree with your system, they will affect you in that way, and you need to cut those foods out. Stress, by the way, is one of the worst things. So your body should be alkaline, not necessarily true. Certain parts of your body are supposed to be acidic, okay? And then, so think of your stomach. Now, let's also think about, should we cut out all acids? Well, of course not. How about essential fatty acids? How about branched chain, the branched chain amino acids? Amino acids are vital for life. So some of these acids are really important for our health. So we have to be careful when we use this term alkalinizing and we want to get rid of all these acids from our diet. It's more a matter of understanding what these foods are doing and why we use that term. your body can't compensate. So it leads to things like osteoporosis. Well, if you're eating a lot of things like sugar, and there's still some controversy over, does sugar cause osteoporosis? Does carbonated drinks cause osteoporosis? Most doctors will want you to cut those out, okay? But your kidneys really should be producing bicarb, and if not, then you need to look at why you're not compensating correctly. There might be something else going on as to why you're not compensating correctly. But I happen to be one of those people who thinks, well, why am I going to eat anything that might, just lead to overall bad health? I want to do everything I can to improve my health in that area. So of course I'm going to cut out anything that might be triggering any problems, carbonic acid, phosphoric acid, things like that. I'm going to cut it out. Still on? Yeah. Okay. Sometimes we get cut off, so I have to check. Make sure you're doing deep breathing, because that helps. Okay? Protein and bone density. So this is an interesting one. A lot of people think they want to cut out protein, right? Because protein is acidic. By nature, protein's acidic. But historically, some of the healthiest people with the thickest bones have been hunter-gatherers. They ate meat, but they ate high-quality meat. And they ate a lot of plant-based foods as well. Not all of them ate a lot of plant-based foods. People like the Mongols or the Inuits, okay? They didn't eat a lot of plant-based foods because they didn't have them available. But they ate high-quality foods, and there is this belief now that we know that protein actually historically led to more dense bones. In fact, the Mongols, one of their enemies were the Jerkins, and the Jerkins were mostly vegetarian. They had a mostly vegetarian diet. They were known to be weaker and have cavities. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be vegan. I'm saying pay attention that you're getting enough high-quality protein, even if you are vegan, because protein has been shown to help bone density, not hurt it, okay? Just make sure it's high quality. Supplements for pH. Okay, when I talk about supplements, I'm talking about the drops you put in your water to alkalinize, or alkaline waters. Okay, those really expensive alkaline water systems. I have so many people. One of the reasons I'm doing this talk today is because so many people write to me about this, try to sell me these systems, and I used to buy into this theory. I mean, I really did until I started doing, taking a lot of classes and really talking to a lot of experts in this field. And here's the reality. These can be dangerous, okay? So pH drops decrease your stomach acid. Too much alkaline water, a little bit's not gonna hurt you. Too much alkaline water, if it's all you're drinking, can decrease your stomach acid. And I know all these people say, oh, it cures cancer. I would still like to see a real scientific study showing that, okay? There's a lot of anecdotal stories. I've not seen any scientific studies that actually show this to be true, because when you decrease stomach acid, just read the insert on a pack of antacids and tell me what the side effects are. It says if you use them for over 3 months, and it gives you this whole list of problems. Well, why? Because you're decreasing stomach acid. These are doing the same thing. Okay, so be careful. We just want you to be careful, pay attention, know the truth. Know the truth shall set you free. So, why do I talk then about alkaline foods being good for you? Okay, if I'm saying all of this, then why are alkaline foods good for you? And what are they? Well, first of all, alkaline foods, what it really means is, it doesn't mean the food itself is alkaline. So like lemon, for example, okay? Lemon isn't alkaline, but the digestive residual, after it digests, almost like burning wood, what's left over, okay? So foods leave behind this residual. Protein leaves an acid residual. Most plant-based foods, not all of them, but most plant-based foods leave an alkaline residual. That's why we talk about alkalinizing foods. The food itself doesn't have to be alkaline. It's the residual it leaves behind after it's digested. So that's what we mean by that. So why are alkaline foods good? If what I just said is true, why are they good? Because these are the alkaline foods we're going to go over, and if you look at them, they're exactly what we talk about in the Brain Warriors Way. Why? Because they help improve your gut, the function of your gut, with probiotics and prebiotics, those good bugs in your gut. That's what these foods do. They also have tons of plant compounds and polyphenols and antioxidants, things that do fight cancer, okay? Is it that being alkaline helps you fight cancer? It's not even really that possible, right? But these foods help you fight cancer. The stuff in the foods help you fight cancer, okay? That's what we mean by that. So take a look at the list of alkaline versus acidic residual foods, okay? Greens, okay, green food. So all of your green vegetables. A lot of your citruses, things like lemon, lime, and grapefruit. I'm not going to go through the whole list. Most fruits that are low glycemic, if it's got too much sugar, it's usually not an alkaline residual. Quinoa, wheatgrass, sprouts, coconut, avocado, and olive oil, nuts and seeds. Okay, that's basically what we talk about in the Brain Warriors Way. Then, acidic, processed foods, meats, okay? But there is a difference between free range versus industrial. Naturally raised meat, think again about people like Mongols and Inuits who virtually had none of our modern diseases, all right? And they ate almost an all meat and fat diet. In fact, it was animal fat, but their meat was so clean. The way we raise animals now is horrific. In fact, industrial raised meat has 30% more palmitic acid. That is one of the saturated fats that's really bad for you, that's been shown to increase heart disease. Sugar, absolutely. I mean, it's not only an acidic food, but that one, we could go on and do our own, which I've done many chats on how bad it is for you. Dairy, alcohol, coffee. If you're going to have coffee, do it in a safe way. Like I've got recipes for coffee in the cookbook where we make it to where it's not so acidic, where it's healthier for you. And high glycemic fruits. So what does this mean? That's why we talk so much about this plate being 70-30, okay, in our books. We want you to have 70% plant-based foods. We want you to get some of that protein that's going to help you with bones and those essential fatty acids and those amino acids and things like that. So if you're vegan, be thinking of high-quality plant-based proteins, okay? But overall, we want you to have 30% of these foods and 70% of these foods. Make sense? And one of the reasons is because we want to keep your body functioning in a way that is going to help those compensatory mechanisms, right? So that you are balancing your pH properly, so that you are getting those plant-based compounds, that you're doing all the things that decrease things like obesity, diabetes, heart disease, right? We want to get rid of that. But that's what these foods do. It's not necessarily because they're changing your pH. They're probably not changing your pH. Anything you eat from moment to moment will change the pH of your urine because that's what your kidneys do. I just got done telling you that. So, but that's what they're doing, is they're balancing your internal pH. So there you go. So I hope this has been helpful understanding the difference in what an alkaline diet means versus what you should be eating. We're going to talk more. We're going to stay on sustenance for a very long time. And I'm using your questions, okay, to get rid of some of these myths and talk about what we should be doing to eat like a warrior. Warriors ate to win. Have a great day.